Hello and welcome to this space for deep reflection. In this video, I will share an intense speech by Osho on death, not as an end, but as a threshold to a new beginning. Have you ever thought about what happens when a chapter in our lives closes forever? Get ready to discover how desires, memories, and aspirations can merge into a story that transcends the boundaries of time. Before diving into these words, remember to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you won't miss the next contents dedicated to personal growth and inner research.
Life begins the moment your past life ends. It is like a river that, after flowing through plains and valleys, merges with the great ocean. Those who observe it think it ends right there, but in reality it continues in another form, part of a larger and unknown whole. Likewise, when you die, on the one hand, a chapter of your existence closes, which many believe was the whole story, while it was only a fragment of an endless story. A chapter ends, but the book does not end. Just turn the page and a new one appears, ready to unfold with the same intensity. The person who is approaching death begins to perceive the contours of the next life. This is a process that occurs because the passing is not as instantaneous as it might seem. In the last glimpse of consciousness, the mind makes a leap, and sometimes someone returns from that extreme border, as happens to those who were about to drown and are saved. In the final moment, the entire history of one's life just past rewinds in an instant. From birth to the last breath, everything passes before one's inner eyes in a fraction of a second. It's like opening an ancient treasure chest and finding inside not only your most precious memories, but also lost objects you had forgotten existed. There is no time to reflect or understand, because the cycle is closing. Yet the soul seems to sift through every page of the book of its own existence. This phenomenon is of extraordinary importance. Before crossing the threshold, the individual recalls experiences, unfulfilled desires, disappointments, joys, goals, and failures. Buddha encapsulates this force in the term tanha, which literally translates as desire, but which actually embraces the entire panorama of our impulses and aspirations. Visualize it as a great loom where each thread represents a thought or action, and together they form the fabric of who we have been. When the body and the brain give way, desire becomes like a wave that breaks away and attaches itself to the soul, accompanying it beyond the threshold. It will be this wave of desire, full of aspirations and shortcomings, that will guide us in the next life, like a North Star that shows us the direction to follow. In reality, your life begins long before birth, in a flow where everything is interconnected. Existences follow one another like the seasons, and one nourishes the one that follows. Each chapter closes to make room for the next, as if you turned off the light in one room to turn it on in another. The landscape changes, but the energy that keeps the flame alive is the same. How the new existence will take shape depends largely on what happens in the last conscious moment of the previous one. It is like carrying a seed. tiny, but already rich with all the potential of a future tree. Perhaps one day science will be able to reveal the project kept inside that seed, being able to predict how many branches the tree will have, how long it will last, and what flowers or fruits it will produce. In the meantime, it remains a sacred mystery, because the essence of the tree rests in latent form, like a musical score waiting to be performed. Many people, however, face death with a sense of despair, clinging to life with fear. It's understandable. In the last hour, you realize that you haven't lived life to the fullest, that you've let the days slip away like sand through your fingers, without truly savoring the beauty of the journey. It's like a traveler who travels across vast territories without ever stopping to observe the sunset, only realizing at the end that he has overlooked the wonder that surrounded him. And then death knocks, and there is no more room to start over. And yet there was time before, and it could have been used with more wisdom and presence. I have always found it bizarre when someone says to kill time, as if it were possible to imprison or eliminate such an elusive reality. Isn't it time that corrodes us, like water that slowly erodes stone? My grandfather, who was a chess enthusiast, liked to say that playing killed time. As a child, I asked him if it was really possible to trap that mystery we call time. He smiled and told me it was a figure of speech, but he couldn't explain to me exactly where time was or how it could be captured. In reality, we are the ones who flow through the days like a river running towards its mouth, while time remains a fixed horizon, a frame in which our lives move. Clocks and calendars are human inventions to give the idea of being able to measure it, but every lived moment disappears the moment it happens, like a musical note that resonates and vanishes into the air. Death, in this context, becomes the highest wave, the one that finally brings us back to the ocean of eternity. If we recognize that the end of one chapter is not a disaster, but merely an opportunity to begin another, we would have a different approach to life. We would understand that each phase has its own rhythm, and that what we call the end is just another threshold to cross. It is the law of transformation, from caterpillar to butterfly, from seed to tree. Thus, death is the passage from one state of existence to another, like an inner evolution. And if, in the last moment, the soul is filled with unfulfilled desires, unresolved melancholies, or ardent love, all this will constitute the seed of future experience, defining the starting conditions of the new adventure. Every life, in essence, is a link in a larger chain. This is why it is essential to live fully. If we manage to fill our days with meaning, facing every experience with authenticity, we will reach the final moment without that suffocating regret of those who realize they have lost their opportunity. We will no longer talk about killing time, because we will discover that time is not an adversary, but a flow to which we belong. We will be like sheets of a notebook that can be written on with wonder and gratitude, aware that there is a story that will continue even beyond our last breaths. Because beyond what we consider the end, there is always a horizon of new possibilities. The book of life, therefore, never closes completely. The pages are turned, and each page represents a world in itself, with its load of hopes, errors, revelations, and transformations. Imagine walking through a vast garden, where every path leads to an unknown corner, and where every flower contains within itself the seed of yet another flower. Thus, our journey is nothing but a continuous discovery, and death merely opens us to a new segment of this path. If we learn to consider the end of one cycle as the dawn of another, then every present moment becomes precious, and every experience acquires the dignity of an indispensable piece in the mosaic of our being. Most people die holding on because they don't want to die. And you understand, only in that moment do you realize that you have not truly lived. Life has passed like a dream, and death has come. There is no more time to live, and death knocks at the door. When you had time, you were busy with 1,000 trivialities, wasting it instead of living it. I have often asked people who play cards or chess, "What are you doing? Are you killing time?" Since I was a child, I hated this expression. My grandfather was a great chess player, and I used to say to him, "You are getting old, and you keep saying that you are killing time. Don't you realize that it is time that is killing you? You don't even know what time is or where it is. Grab it, show it to me." And all these phrases about time flying or passing are just forms of consolation. In reality, it is you who is passing by, slipping away from moment to moment, while you continue to think that it is time that is passing, as if you could stay and time were to go away. Time is where it is. It doesn't go away. Clocks and chronometers are human inventions to measure a flow that, in truth, never happens. You, on the other hand.
Thank you for sharing these moments of introspection with me. I hope this journey through the pages of life has offered you new perspectives and inspirations. If you want to support us and continue to receive content that ignites the mind and soul, subscribe to the channel, and, if you like, subscribe to help us create new videos. Each of your contributions allows us to explore unexplored paths together and give voice to the deepest questions. I look forward to seeing you at the next stage of our journey.